Welcome to My Irish Radio, music and culture news, your connection to everything happening in the world of Irish music and culture. I'm Jamie Flanagan. Each episode will share the latest news from Ireland's vibrant music scene, from traditional and folk to rebel ballads, pub tunes, Celtic rock, and today's top Irish pop. We'll also bring you updates on festivals, cultural events, and people keeping Irish heritage alive around the world. And remember, My Irish Radio is more than just a station. It's your community, your soundtrack, your voice. You can listen 24/7 at myirishradio.com and through the links in the podcast description below. Here's the best part. You can be part of it. Host your very own show on My Irish Radio. Choose your playlist, share your stories, make My Irish Radio your Irish Radio. Let's get into what's happening this week in Irish music and culture.
Today, we are doing something pretty special, a really rapid but comprehensive scan of recent headlines from Ireland, covering everything from music and culture to some pretty profound social shifts.
Exactly. Our mission is, simple on the surface. We want to give you, the learner, a really concentrated dose of what's driving the cultural pulse of Ireland right now.
Yeah, and this isn't just a list of facts.
Not at all. It's more like a living blueprint. It shows how a nation is trying to balance its ancient heritage with these cutting-edge global anxieties.
We basically synthesized a whole stack of articles. They detail massive funding announcements, what's topping the charts, some really surprising archaeological finds, and even debates over digital democracy.
And the thing that just jumps out, the tension running through all of it, is this jarring contrast. I mean, we're going to talk about the triumphant legacy return of the wolf tones, and then immediately pivot to global arts funding north of €1 million, and then, shift again to local political anxieties, Bronze Age axe heads, and this really frightening modern threat of what's being called AI slopaganda in elections.
It's a huge spectrum. So the question we're really focusing on is, what specific details in this whole blend of tradition and modernity are the most illuminating for you, for someone trying to grasp this cultural moment? Okay, let's unpack this. I think we should start with the soundtrack of modern Ireland because it is electric and, frankly, often contradictory.
The music scene is the perfect place to start. It's an instant snapshot. You just have to look at the major festival headliners that were announced, and the generational chasm is it's right there.
That's where it gets really interesting.
It's an immediate, powerful look at legacy versus the future.
So the reports we looked at noted the festival headliners, and you have Kneecap, the contemporary, controversial Irish language hip-hop group.
Very controversial.
They're set to headline all together now in 2026.
And then, in stark contrast to that, you have the Wolf Tones, the iconic, politically charged folk and ballad group, and they're coming out of retirement for these huge shows in Dublin.
So for a listener who isn't maybe steeped in Irish politics and culture, this isn't just about different genres, is it?
Oh, not at all. You have to understand, this is two entirely different political and cultural mindsets coexisting. One is the established, historically potent voice of a previous generation.
Right.
And the other is new. It's disruptive, and it's focused on current social dynamics, often using the Irish language to challenge the status quo.
It really shows the breadth of the national conversation just in a festival lineup.
Yeah.
But this tension, this local versus global thing, it also plays out in the actual chart data we analyzed.
And here's where you see the battle between the algorithms, really.
How so?
Well, the sources highlight this incredible indigenous success. You have the Irish band Kingfisher, their single Killy hit #1. And crucially, it was cited as Ireland's most streamed song overall.
That's a huge sign of a local, authentic breakthrough. It's connecting directly with the audience.
It is. But if you zoom out even slightly, that local pride runs straight into the global pop culture machine. The same data confirms that Taylor Swift was Ireland's most streamed artist on Spotify.
So I have to ask, does the dominance of a global superstar like that diminish the local success? Or is that just the unavoidable reality of streaming now?
I don't think it diminishes it. I think it clarifies the challenge. The global commercial algorithm, it's driven by massive international tours and marketing. It ensures that this global monoculture dominates the overall metrics. But the fact that Kingfisher's song was the most streamed, that shows that when local authenticity breaks through, it can absolutely beat the competition on a track-by-track level.
It's a fascinating negotiation then. between global taste and local preference.
Let's say.
And the sources also gave us a sense of the active ecosystem. They mentioned LLYD's festive single, Tomorrow Be Kind, and Barry Kerr's album, Curlew's Cry. And there's institutional respect, too, with a tribute for Shane MacGowan's 2-year passing and even high praise from President Higgins for a new Irish radio initiative.
So the industry is looking forward, but it's also maintaining its historical memory. And that memory aspect leads us to one of the most intriguing insights from the source material.
The trad resurgence.
The resurgence of traditional Irish music, or trad. And what's fascinating is that the analysis we saw links this revival specifically to the condition of modern isolation.
I found that analysis really compelling, but I also have to wonder, is it a bit reductive? I mean, saying the trad resurgence is just due to modern isolation, doesn't that overlook things like, I don't know, great music education or just younger musicians wanting to master a highly technical skill?
That's a fair challenge, but let's look at the mechanism here. What does trad offer? It's communal, it's tactile, it's physically present. You have sessions in pubs, people learning instruments face to face.
Okay, I see.
This is the exact antidote to digital fragmentation. When your whole world is mediated through a screen, people start to reach for a connection that is, raw and acoustic.
So it's a cultural response.
The data suggests this isn't just a trend. It's a cultural response to a modern psychological condition where screens have, in many ways, replaced social geography.
That completely reframes the appeal. And the depth of the scene is clearly there. I mean, beyond the headliners, we saw coverage of indie star Cian Cavanagh's new album, The County Star, and a whole documentary on the folk icon Christy Moore.
It shows the Irish media is really investing in documenting this entire continuum, from the absolute legends to the newcomers. There's a confidence in the cultural output.
A confidence which I think transitions us perfectly into our next section.
You're listening to My Irish Music and Culture News, brought to you by My Irish Radio, streaming the best in Irish and Celtic music all day, every day. From classic jigs and reels to the latest Irish rock and pub favorites, we celebrate the sound of Ireland worldwide. Want to be more than a listener? Be a host. Share your love for the Irish music by hosting your own show on My Irish Radio. It's easy to get started. Just send us an email, myirishradio@gmail.com. Don't forget, you can listen 24/7 at myirishradio.com. Make My Irish Radio your Irish Radio.
Okay, let's shift gears from the sound booth to the budget sheet, because this is where the sheer scale of investment in soft power becomes just unavoidable. There was a massive funding figure in the material.
This is a major insight into how Ireland projects its identity to the rest of the world.
So the data highlights an enormous commitment to exporting Irish arts. Over 1.1 million euros was announced for Culture Ireland. That funding is specifically for supporting Irish arts, music, theater, film, literature in 33 different countries. €1 million dedicated to soft power. That is a deliberate, strategic projection of national identity.
That's precisely the word for it. Strategic. This isn't just some simple grant. It's cultural diplomacy. It positions Ireland not just as a geographical location, but as an influential cultural exporter.
Capable of reaching global audiences.
And influencing international perception. It's essentially making its culture an arm of its foreign policy.
And what I find so remarkable is that while the government is moving, 7 figures to fund international arts, the sources show the country is still intensely focused on looking inward, right in the dirt, literally.
It's that balance again.
You have this incredible contrast. High-level international funding and then the accidental discovery of deep history.
That's the balance we talked about at the start. You have the highest levels of global engagement, and then you have a farmer who identifies the precise location of Bronze Age axe heads. It takes high tech to distribute that 1.1 million euros, but it takes local knowledge and just pure chance to uncover artifacts thousands of years old.
And the nation's identity is defined by both.
Equally defined by both.
And this history is constantly being uncovered, not just by accident. The reports mentioned the Sligo Fort excavation, which was incredibly fruitful. It yielded over 1,000 finds from a 17th century fort.
Right.
So this isn't history just sitting in an archive. This is ongoing systematic discovery. It keeps the past alive.
And the fact that those finds date specifically to the 17th century provides a very precise anchor for historians. It links the medieval to the early modern period, offering rich detail on a time of huge political and social upheaval.
So it constantly reinforces this idea that history is, well, it's just underneath every contemporary conversation you have.
It is.
And crucially, this history is being made more accessible. A huge practical benefit that was highlighted for researchers, and really just for the curious, was the release of nearly 100,000 searchable burial records for Cork.
And they're available online for free.
For free.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, making 100,000 burial records available online is a game changer for diaspora research. It means people all over the world can access their history without having to be physically present.
So the digital heritage work actually mirrors the global arts funding.
In a way, yes. It's using modern technology to extend Ireland's reach beyond its geographical borders, whether that's through music or through genealogy.
Okay, let's move into our final and maybe most volatile segment, cultural crossroads. This is really where the depth of history and the speed of the digital age collide, and you can see genuine friction points.
This is where we saw the sources detail the, everyday cultural landscape right alongside these deep social tensions.
Exactly. On the later side of things, we've got Cecilia Ahern's new novel, Paper Heart, which is inspired by celestial themes. And then there's the period drama House of Guinness, which was noted as a rip-roaring watch, focusing on the brewing dynasty.
So entertainment is still often relying on, established legacies or comfortable romantic narratives.
Yes, but these cultural anchors are sharing headlines with some significant contemporary anxieties.
Big ones.
And we have to report on the facts as the sources present them, focusing strictly on the fact that these serious public debates are happening. The reports detailed an ongoing debate over anti-immigration Irish flags appearing on Dublin streetlights.
What the sources called the flag controversy.
The flag controversy.
And this is a clear manifestation of local social friction. It's an ideological battle being played out in public spaces, highly visible, highly localized, and it's forcing people to confront these really complex questions about national identity and immigration.
And then politically, the sources flagged two major anxieties. First, there's an internal discussion happening about the potential impact of a new socialist president.
Right.
But the second concern is the most modern, the most borderless threat. The anxiety around AI slopaganda in elections. The source explicitly notes this as a potential political turning point.
That term, AI slopaganda, it's critical. It needs immediate context for you, the listener. We're not talking about simple political ads here.
Yeah.
We are talking about the mass production of low-quality, potentially deepfake-driven digital content designed to just flood the online space, to erode trust, and overwhelm the voter with sheer confusion.
It's weaponized low quality.
Precisely. And if we connect the dots, we see why this is a political turning point. Ireland is debating 17th century fort finds and the meaning of a national flag, while at the same time having to worry that sophisticated automated deepfakes could influence the democratic outcome of the next election.
This just raises the essential question that I think summarizes this entire deep dive. Why are discussions about a historical TV drama, a Bronze Age axe head, and massive global arts funding sharing the exact same cultural space with concerns about AI deepfakes and public flag controversies?
Because the sources illustrate that modern Irish culture is intensely grappling with historical identity, who they were, what they own, what they carry forward, while simultaneously facing these cutting-edge digital and political threats that are entirely borderless.
Yeah.
The specific mention of AI shows a keen awareness that global political and digital trends will dictate the future, regardless of how much ancient history they manage to uncover. That is the fundamental tension of this contemporary moment.
This has been a fascinating and very rapid scan of the source material. Just to recap our journey, we started with that powerful music scene from Kingfisher's #1 hit to the historical resonance of the Wolf Tones' return.
That constant push-pull between local pride and global influence.
Then we dove into that impressive commitment to cultural diplomacy, the over 1.1 million euros in global arts funding from Culture Ireland.
Which was balanced perfectly against the profound, necessary work of local grounding, visible in those 17th century fort finds and the newly digitized Cork burial records.
And finally, we saw that rich cultural tapestry confronting these urgent contemporary issues. The localized social friction of the flag controversy, political shifts, and this existential need for critical thinking about digital misinformation and the threat of AI slopaganda.
This deep dive really reveals that the culture of Ireland today is defined by a powerful tension. A tension between deeply rooted history, the trad music resurgence, the archaeological finds, and the urgent, borderless challenges of the digital age.
So before we close, let's leave you with one final provocative thought to mull over.
Considering the strong strategic focus on global art support, backed by over €1 million, and the concurrent undeniable local social tensions like the flag controversy, the source material forces you to consider this. How effectively can cultural diplomacy, however well-funded, smooth over intense internal social friction? And what role will trust-eroding digital tools like AI play in determining which side of that highly complicated story wins the cultural narrative, both locally and globally? That battle for narrative control is happening right now in real time.
That's it for this episode of My Irish Radio, Music and Culture News. Thanks for joining us. And remember, you can hear the best in Irish and Celtic music 24 hours a day at myirishradio.com. If you ever dreamed of sharing your favorite tunes and stories, now's your chance. Become one of the hosts. Host your own show right here on My Irish Radio. Just send us an email. It's easy as that. myirishradio@gmail.com. Until next time, it's Jamie Flanagan. Keep the music playing and keep Ireland in your heart.